So good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to have you here. We are having our sleep webinar tonight. So just saying hello to everybody here in the chat box. So I am a diamond leader in doTERRA. So doTERRA is an essential oils company, but they sell a lot of other natural products. So I have spent the last 4 or 5 years really absorbing myself in natural health solutions for our family. We have 3 small children, and we've not used any pharmaceuticals in our family for that length of time. So that feels pretty amazing to have really empowered ourselves to be able to find a natural way to solve everything that comes up in a normal family everyday home. It's not that I wouldn't turn to the system that's available to us if we needed that. That's not what that's about, but I'm just really grateful that we have got all the solutions we have needed to date within our home. So having 3 small children, I do feel like I was permanently pregnant or breastfeeding for about 10 years, and then just the problems that come up in the night with children just on a permanent basis, I really feel like I know what it's like to be sleep deprived. I do feel like sleep deprivation is probably like the #1 torture that you could actually give to someone. So this webinar actually comes out of a future webinar. So a future webinar that I'm intending on creating, which is all about energy. So how I really changed my health and brought energy and vitality back into my health, because I was always just that mum that was constantly tired, that would not be able to clear out the breakfast because it just all felt too much. And there are a lot of elements to having more energy and vitality in our life, and I'm so grateful that I have that back, and I've cleared my baby brain, and I'm just back on track, and I'm me, and I'm productive, and I'm just, I'm in a place physically, emotionally, mentally where I want to be. But when I was looking at all the elements that support that life that I'm now living, like sleep is such a major element of that. I thought, this is almost like a separate webinar all on its own. So here we are in this separate webinar all on its own, just talking about the sleep element. So, sleep is just one part of our life. For me, my wellness philosophy is that being well is our default. So our body instinctively will do everything it can to bring us back to wellness. That's where it wants us to be. So it's constantly flushing toxins. It's constantly like telling us when we're tired, or it's it's doing everything it can. Like if there's damage in our body, it will scream out and give you pain, so that we respond to that with rest, so that it gives itself that space to heal. So our body is constantly working for us and with us to give us the best possible environment, and there's so many things we can do to support that. So we know things just like foundational nutrition, we know about movement, we know that sleep, if we can give our bodies enough sleep, it rewards us with so much good health. So that's what we're going to be looking at a lot today. So we only have an hour. That sleep is a very complex thing. There's a lot of causes, there's a lot of effects from low sleep, and there's a really wide variety of solutions as well. So I'm sorry that I can't cover every aspect or every individual need, but hopefully today will be a really nice summary and overview of tools that I've used that I have found have helped a wide number of people. So I run essential oil workshops and wellness workshops right across Brisbane, Australia, the UK, and I estimate that I've run between 500 and 1,000 essential oil workshops. And I would say the #1 topic or issue that comes up in every single class is energy and sleep, and they kind of go hand in hand. Like people say, I want more energy, and because I'm getting less sleep, they're very much linked. So it is the topic that seems to be the one that really speaks to a lot of people, and so hopefully you'll be able to get something out of today, or some sort of tool that you'll be able to use moving forward. It's not one size fits all. That's not what holistic health is about. Like, we all have our own unique chemistry. We all have our own, our body's going to respond differently to different things. So it's about you finding your way and really tuning in and listening to yourself. And that's what holistic health really is about. So I'm just going to share my screen with you, and hopefully everybody can see that. If anyone's got their camera on, can they just give me a thumbs up that they can see that? I'm hoping that's a yes. Okay, we will move forward. Okay, so the importance of sleep. Well, sleep is a biological process, so it is absolutely essential for our life. There is no escaping it. So there was a study conducted in the Netherlands in 2017, and it really outlines the both the short and long-term health consequences of sleep disruption. And what we know is that healthy sleep definition is it's reliant on a number of things. So there's enough of it, the sufficient duration, that it's really good quality, that it's appropriate timing and regularity, and that there's an absence of sleep disturbances and disorders. So we know that healthy sleep plays a critical role in brain function, in systemic physiology, metabolism, appetite regulation, the functioning of the immune, hormonal, and cardiovascular systems. So it really is affecting every part of our life. Now, none of this should be revolutionary information to you. If you have gone without like sleep on a short term or long term, you will have noticed an impact on your health. So poor sleep actually affects 33 to 45% of Australian adults. I was absolutely blown away and astounded by that figure, but then looking at people coming to my classes, I actually would agree with that. That seems to be, for me, that seems like an epidemic. So it really is something that we need to address. So looking at that, 17% actually of Australian adults reports having missed one day of work in the past 4 weeks due to a sleep problem. So 17% are actually just missing work because of it. So I think that's huge. So if you would like to just raise your hand, I think you can raise your hand on Zoom if you've experienced any of these short-term or long-term solutions as we're going. So looking through, we've got increased stress responsivity, somatic problems, reduced quality of life, emotional distress, mood disorders, and other mental problems. So actually in relation to that, there's a recent review by Milo et al., and they surveyed evidence showing that disrupted sleep is a major cause in the development of depression, which is outstanding. Then we've got cognition, memory, performance deficits, and behavioural problems as well. And we see that a lot with children as well. And a lot of teachers report actually the kids that struggle at school often are really tired. They'll have rings under their eyes. They'll be rubbing their eyes and feel really, really tired in the school. So long-term consequences of sleep disruption include hypertension, dyslipidemia, we've got cardiovascular disease and weight-related issues. So research actually shows that sleep-deprived people have a higher BMI, so that's body mass index, and show changes in the hormones that control appetite. We've also got the metabolic syndrome, which is linked to that as well. And we've got type 2 diabetes, so it's shown to decrease glucose tolerance and insulin sensitivity as well. And it may increase the risk of certain cancers and death. It may worsen the symptoms of some GI disorders, such as your gut intestinal tract. It also reduces the natural immune function actually as well. So the study that I was looking at actually showed that whether or not you have too much sleep or not enough sleep, so in terms of that duration, so it actually, if this is a consistent thing, if you're consistently having under 5.5 hours or consistently over 9.5 hours, it actually negatively impacts your health. So I found that really fascinating because I would have just assumed more sleep the better. But yeah, consistently over 9.5 hours or less than 5.5 hours, the likelihood is your life will be a shorter life, and it will be a life with disease, which I found quite fascinating. So let's move on. So we've got here some risk factors that affect sleep. So I'd just like you to follow along with this and just really count up as we go through them, how many of these that you think affect you or apply to you. So we've got lifestyle factors. So this is caffeine, and actually looking at another study, well, this is the 2016 Sleep Health Foundation study, found that over 1/3 of Australian adults actually drink 4 or more coffees a day. 34% of Australian adults drink 4 or more coffees a day. So that is, I feel like, another epidemic. And that Sleep Health Foundation study is a huge part of the research I've done for this. And that was a survey of 220,000 Australian adults. So yeah, we've got caffeine, we've got alcohol, we've got drug abuse. And I actually would like to add that it's actually kind of alcohol abuse as well. It has been found that acute use of alcohol doesn't actually negatively impact on sleep. There's various different studies that would query that. But everything that I've looked at sort of supports that a small amount of alcohol is not a problem, but overuse of alcohol really is one of the biggest influences in sleep disturbances and health overall. So yeah, drug abuse, shift work, attending uni, jet lag, and then we've got environmental factors of excessive noise, excessive light. So noise as well can be next to a partner who's snoring, or obviously environmental. There's wind turbines, or a barking dog, any of those things. Then obviously excessive light. We've got the psychosocial elements, so anxiety, worry, and rumination, which is just overthinking things. Parents of young children are going to be subject to lack of sleep, that's for sure. Caregivers to a family member with a chronic or terminal condition. We then have actual sleep disorders, so insomnia, obstructive sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, narcolepsy, and circadian rhythm disorders. And we have medical conditions, so pain, restrictive lung disease, chronic kidney disease, diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases, psychiatric disorders, and use of certain medications. So feel free to share in the chat box. I'm not going to share that because this is being recorded, but we can talk through that at the end. Now, we can't cover obviously all the solutions for this today. Again, it's just going to be an overview. Like, I'd love to talk more on the restless legs, the mood. I'd love to talk about gut health and how that's an impact on it. But again, that's a whole nother webinar. There is actually, for those of you who are members of the Healthy Munchkins team, if you look in the members group, we did a webinar on gut health just a couple of weeks ago. So have a look in the Unix section of that. And I'd love to talk more about children, because children are always waking up in the night with various things that just occur that you need to deal with instantly. And I love that we have natural solutions in our home that we can address them straight away without having to outsource that care. But again, that's we run classes on that separately as well. So nearly a quarter of adults, Australian adults, so 23%, report that they do not have a sleep routine, and that their schedule, like their actual life, their schedule does not allow adequate time for sleep. So they don't actually have enough time in their life between their work and all their obligations to schedule in the necessary time that they need to live a healthy life. I find that incredible that's the case. It actually increases from 23% to 30% for the age range of 18 to 44-year-olds, so those in their prime working life. So I just look at this and I just think, if you knew that you could create your optimal well-being like through some magic thing that you could just do for an hour a day, like, okay, I'm going to have better health, better skin, better hair, better metabolism, better cardiovascular health, better, every single thing about your body to be better, but you could just invest, an hour of your time a day. And it's sleeping, like, the answer is sleep, which, I think everyone sort of enjoys the feeling of having good sleep. If we knew that was a possibility, which we do, surely it should be our priority. So I just know when, we first had our first baby, I invested a lot of time in a sleep routine for her. So I would, give her dinner, and then give her a nice warm bath, and then wrap her up and have dim lighting on and put lullabies on. And then I would give her a baby massage. Second and third child didn't quite get the baby massage. We didn't quite get that far. But, when I had that time, that's exactly what I did. And then I would sing to her, and I cuddled her, and I fed her, and we turned the lights down. And then I'd lay her, and then I'd pat her, do all these beautiful things to support her going to sleep, putting through this beautiful sleep routine. But yet somehow I feel like I can't even give myself 10 minutes to do any sort of wind down, winding down for myself. So it's just, again, about priorities. When people talk about not having enough money, or people talking about not having enough time, we make time for the things that are important to us. If, I always think about, if my child were to, wet themselves in the middle of the car, I would find time to clean that up and get them cleaned up. We find time for things that are important. So it's just a matter of priorities and understanding how much of an impact that healthy sleep has. So you can see here, there's heaps of ways that you can actually create this routine for yourself and make it as pleasurable as you like. If you love having baths, then have a beautiful bath in there. But if that's not your jam, and you like to, I like to just put a meditation on my phone and fall asleep to that. So do what feels right for you. And in here is obviously regular things like having a healthy diet and working out on a regular basis, you know, I would just say movement instead of working out, whatever that, again, whatever the movement feels right for you. So just, you know, see if you can create something now, like what couple of things could you do before bed that would actually help you get into that space. So I did want to talk a little bit about Mel Robbins. So Mel Robbins is, she wrote the book 5 Second Rule, and it's a brilliant book. Don't have time to talk about it, but she talks about how dangerous it is pressing the snooze button, and how you actually, when you press the snooze button, you actually go back into and start a new sleep cycle, which takes up to 4 hours for you to recover from, and why people feel so groggy after pressing this, the snooze alarm. She talks about it's called sleep inertia. Anyway, have a read of that book. It is absolutely fantastic. And also she talks about having your room as a no phone zone, so charging your phone outside of your bedroom. So if your alarm is on your phone, it forces you to get up in the morning, but also because you're not distracted or tempted to take it. So looking at some solutions other than routine, one thing I love to do is an Epsom salt bath. The science to back this up isn't actually that strong, but it's a well-known thing that people feel relaxed after an Epsom salt bath. Various people believe that it detoxes your body, so it's drawing out toxins. People report it being helpful for stiff joints and sore muscles, and just helping you feel relaxed. If it feels good for you, do it. If it doesn't, then don't worry about it. But we use it for heaps of things, like we may use it in our laundry powder, we use it in foot soaks and that sort of thing, but we do sprinkle some in the bath with some essential oils. One of my favorite things to do is actually put my feet in the sea. We're lucky to live near the sea, and we just go down and paddle in the water. Again, that's salt water, and I definitely feel just incredible after doing that. And that's obviously got that grounding element as well. So there's really good quality Epsom salts available from blants.com.au. So another thing that we like to do is the Shakti Mats. So the Shakti Mat is kind of like the modern day bed of nails. Basically, it's a soft mat, but it has all these pins all over it. You can get 3 different grades of it, like the less pins there are, like little spikes on each of those little dials, then the more intense it is on your skin. So we have a medium size one, or medium pinned one. Now the Shakti Mat company themselves claim that it prepares the body for a deep and restful sleep and may help ease muscles of the back. Now, personally, my experience of it, that is much more than that. I feel deeply relaxed. It takes me to a meditative state because it is quite uncomfortable on my body. I have to find a place in my body and mind where I can breathe through that and get to a place where I am mentally more focused. And so focused but relaxed, that's the only way I can help for it. So it forces me to find that place mentally, which then really helps me with relaxation into sleep. Anthony, my husband, who I think is on this call as well, he said to me it helps him fall asleep faster. He says he's like less fidgety and just gets comfortable more easily. It kind of just takes you into, you're just still, you just feel really, really still. He says he sleeps deeper, which I find really interesting because he actually, I hope he's not listening, but he snores less when he's been on it. So even though he's sleeping deeper, yeah, he's actually snoring less. And he says he wakes up feeling more refreshed and has more energy in the day. So that's certainly the way I feel as well. So I just wanted to mention that because it's something we found really useful in our home. Shakti Mats is the original one. You can find some cheaper ones on eBay and stuff that are different brands that I've heard of fine too. We got the original and we absolutely love it. So the idea is you lie on it for about 20 minutes and then yeah, coming off is the little bit of an uncomfortable bit as well. But yeah, highly recommend if you want to give that a go, or if you've heard about it from someone else and as well. So moving on to screens. So the Sleep Health Foundation study found that 44% of adults, and that's actually more, so 47% of women and 40% of men, Australian adults again, are on the internet just before bed every single night. So that's almost half of people. So 18 to 24-year-olds, that actually rises to 75%. And the over 65s, it's 22%, which I still think is quite high. But 66% of over 65s, they may not be on their phones or device, but they are on, or not, maybe not on the internet, but they're watching TV. So that's 88% of over 65s are watching some sort of screen. So we are on screens before we're going to bed. Like if you're not, that's fantastic, well done. But the vast majority of us are. I'm still doing it. It's still just there. It's just I'm still doing stuff and answering messages on my way to bed. So phones, TVs, and computers emit a blue light. So what this does is it, if you're exposed to blue light within 2 hours of going to sleep, it actually affects your brain. So it tricks your, well, it affects your melatonin production, which is what helps you with your circadian rhythms, which is what helps you to go to sleep. So it kind of fools the brain into thinking that it's not bedtime yet. Like in the old days, before we had electricity, you know, people would get around a campfire in the evening or light candles. So it was very dim light because that's all that was available. Or yeah, they'd have their fire in their living room. So their body was adjusting and knows it's the evening, ready to go to sleep. Whereas now we've got all the bright lights on, we're watching TV, we're on our phones. So our brain doesn't realize that it's time to go to sleep. And I don't know about anyone else, but I always feel like, well, when it gets to like 11 o'clock at night, I'm buzzing and ready to go. And I feel like I could do loads. And then, you know, I wake up in the morning and think, oh, I just wish I'd gone to bed earlier, because I feel so exhausted. But then the day comes around again and then I've tricked my body and it just doesn't feel sleepy again at night. And that's because of this blue light that's coming through from all the screens that are around us. So personally, I haven't tried this yet, but there are blue light glasses that you can buy. So there's a lot of studies around this actually. So 2003 and 2016 were the main ones. And they've shown that blocking blue light actually keeps this, well, it preserves your circadian rhythm. So it keeps your body in that sort of more instinctual mode of actually feeling tired once it gets to the evening. There's various brands that you can buy. The one that's been recommended to me is Blue Box, so BLUBOX. Or you can get ones on Amazon that are cheaper as well. So you can also buy light bulbs that are red tinted. And I know family homes that only have those, so they have no blue light coming through any of their lighting, and then they only watch screens when they have glasses on, whether it's day or night. That's just the rule they have in their house. So another thing I'd like to add, just because these people are in bed, and I haven't added this in as a slide separately, but another popular thing that people have been using recently is weighted blankets, more for people who are suffering with anxious feelings but having that heaviness on their body. So if that's something that you know, if anxious feelings is something that are one of your reasons or one of your causes or triggers for not being able to go to sleep, then that's another thing to look at as well. So my business is essential oils. I'm interested in all areas of natural therapy, but we do have a doTERRA business with essential oils. So I'm going to be talking just a little bit now about the essential oils we use in our home, because this is our main tool that we use for absolutely everything. So we use essential oils for all of our ailments in our home, but we also use it to make all our own cleaning products. You know, our shampoo and conditioner and toothpaste and everything is all from doTERRA that make the highest quality essential oils. We also use them in our cooking, we use them for our skin care, we use them for our emotional health, and so many different things. So sleep is definitely one. I'll show you our not very pretty sleep blend. So this is our sleepy spray. I don't know if you can see, it's very tiny in the corner. And so it just says sleepy time on it and zzz down the bottom, which I think my kids designed, either that or Anthony when he wasn't feeling particularly creative. But this is what we spray on our kids before bed. They say, please put sleepy time on, you know, to keep away any nightmares, and it just makes them fall asleep really quickly. So, you know, that's what we use, but there's other ways, and I'll talk about what we use that in a moment. So essential oils, for those who don't have essential oils yet, have not had experience with them, I'll just give you a really quick rundown on what they are. So they are the aromatic compounds from plants. They can be from bark, the trunk or stems or leaves or roots, from, you know, from any parts of trees or plants, or even fruit, like the rinds of fruit. So we sort of say plants, but it actually can be a number of things. So the essential oils themselves are 50 to 70 times more powerful than the herbs themselves. And if you say went into the garden and got some peppermint, it may not smell overly of peppermint when you just smell it as it is, but if you were to rub the leaves together in your hands, you're going to actually smell the peppermint smell. So what you're doing is you're actually bursting like microscopic little oil sacs that are sitting on the leaves. And inside there are highly concentrated chemical compounds that we can use to help support our body systems, which is exactly what we do in our so they have a biological effect. They also impact our emotions. They're what's called lipid soluble, so they can penetrate through all our layers of skin, they circulate our bloodstream, and they can get inside of cells. So they are, they can transfer into the insides of cells, which a lot of pharmaceuticals can't do, which is why they're so very powerful. We will move on just to just some testimonials from actually from our members only group. So our team is growing hugely. We've got close to 2,000 people in our wellness community now. And we have a members only group on Facebook. And I just did a quick search for anyone that had spoken about sleep. So you can see a few here. I won't read them all, but we've got, just at the top, lovely lavender, simple but oh so effective. I'm sleeping through the night every night. Lavender Piece, we'll talk about to sleep through the night. My top result with these oils. My daughter loves Lavender Piece. Now we had add a drop of Juniper Berry. She's always found it hard to fall asleep, but not anymore. We've got the top left. I've struggled to fall asleep and stay asleep for years, but using these amazing oils in a diffuser blend at night has helped. And then Easy Air, vetiver and cedarwood in our diffuser at night with a little lavender rubbed on our temples, have never slept better. So you can see there's plenty of people backing up that. So sleep is definitely one of the first things that people use it for. We often think of lavender, but there's actually a lot of oils that we can use to support us. So there are 3 ways that we can use the oils: aromatically, topically, and internally, or as a food additive. So we'll go through each of those. So in terms of aromatically, what that means is really just breathing oils in. So we think of a diffuser, and often at night time, that's a really powerful way to use them aromatically, because we can aromatically, can just mean smelling from the bottle or putting a drop in your hand and breathing that in, and that's great. But when we're asleep, if we've got a diffuser on, it's actually re-pumping that oil out into the air all night long. So you're actually reabsorbing that into your body continually. So it's a really, really powerful way to use them for sleep. Other ways we can use them is you can make a little like bed spray. So if you had like another spray bottle like this, and you put whatever sleepy oils you wanted in there, just with some water, then you just shake it up before you use it. And I actually spray that when the sheets are on the washing line, so that the essential oil sits actually in the fabric of the sheets. And then when you pull them out the cupboard, they smell really nice. And I might give them another spray when they go on the bed. And you're again just re-breathing that in through the night, which is a really lovely way to do it. I know some people like to put a couple of drops on a tissue and put it inside their pillow, which is great as well. And that's definitely an option. So the way you use a diffuser, you just fill up with water until the red dot or there's a line or something that will guide you. And once you have filled the water, you just put a few drops of oil in. So I always say to start small, so just 1 or 2 drops, especially at night time, because there's not much other senses, your body it's going to really absorb that. If you feel that's not strong enough, then you can add more, but I would definitely start small. You don't want to feel overwhelmed by the smell when you're sleeping, and you're in just one room. It's not like you're in the open plan area and people are walking around and there's fans on and that sort of thing. It's a much more condensed space. So I say go small, just 1 or 2 drops in the evening, at night in your diffuser. The petal one that you can see here is from DoTERRA, and that actually lasts up 4 hours. Or there's the Lumo, which I've got going here. I don't know if anyone can see that. This one here, and you can dim it or change colors. So it's a nice night light as well, or you can have the light off. But that can go up to 10 hours. So that's a really useful one to have overnight, especially in the kids' bedroom as well. And that's a DoTERRA one as well. So in terms of what to put in it, it really is limitless. I've put some suggestions here, but really there are so many different calming oils that you can choose, and it's just personal preference. It's a bit like flavors in your cooking. It's just whatever really feels right for you. In terms of knowing which oils are calming, this is my Modern Essentials here. This is my Bible book that tells me everything. So I will look in the back of this and look up any ailment. So you can look up sleep, for example, and it's going to give you a list of all the calming oils and help you with that. So it's just a matter of finding what speaks to your body. If you open a bottle of oil and my body is really craving this, then that's beautiful. So here as an example, you could put a drop of lavender, which everyone knows I think is soothing and really relaxing, whether that's for your skin, whether that's for your emotions, or whether that is for sleep. Then we've got Easy Air. So Easy Air is called Breathe in the US or the UK. Easy Air is not necessarily one for sleep specifically. It's actually one that helps, it's the clear blend. So it really works in this chest area of our bodies and really opening and helping that area feel really clear. So this is the one that really does help with Anthony's snoring, sorry Anthony, as well as obviously using the Shakti mat, but just being able to help with any noises that might be irritating me. I like to have Easy Air in my diffuser blends as we're sleeping. And then we've got cedarwood. So cedarwood is absolutely beautiful oil. It is obviously a tree, and it's a really deep rooted tree. So when you think about the way that things are grown, it really helps you understand how it's going to help you feel. So generally we've got things like big trees that are very connected with the earth or go very deep in the earth are the oils that are going to help us feel really relaxed or really grounded. If you put something like like a lemon and orange and all your citrus oils, they are vibrant in color, they grow up towards the sun, they sway in the trees, and they're very volatile. They jump out the bottle much more easily in terms of their the molecules jump out. You probably smell it a lot quicker than you do with the more dense ones. So those citrus oils are actually really uplifting. They are what you want to put on in the morning when you wake up to help you get your body moving, but actually at night time we want to use these much heavier ones that are going to help our body to relax. So vetiver is another alternative to cedarwood. So I generally find people will prefer either cedarwood or vetiver. So our actual sleepy time blend that I showed you before, so it's obviously not in a diffuser, this is topically, which we'll talk about next, but we have in here, well, we have cedarwood and vetiver, we have Juniper Berry and Lavender Piece, which we'll talk about as well. So yeah, you can put both in. You can, just whatever you've got is totally fine. If you've only got lavender, just use lavender. It's going to have calming effect on your body. Although having said that, lavender does for some reason send people the other way. So some people with certain chemistry just find that lavender makes them feel really excitable. So just note that, maybe try just lavender on its own, see how that feels with you. If that feels good, then add in another sleepy oil with that and see how that then feels, and just experiment. As long as we're doing this safely, we're void of any side effects. So it's a beautiful way to be able to really tune into your body and find what's working for you. Other ones that are really good are bergamot, which is actually a citrus, but it actually is one that has been known to really help people with sleep just because it's very clearing and cleansing, and it's a much more gentle smell than most citrus. Peace is a blend that has vetiver in it, that is a really calming oil. It's a reassuring blend. I know people that use Peace and Easy Air together in their diffuser, so it really is like limitless what you can do. Roman chamomile is another good one, and sandalwood is another good one too. So I just wanted to talk about Juniper Berry, which is what we put in our sleepy time, because this is the oil of the night. And I can't find any science to back it up whatsoever, but I know from experience from family upon family upon family upon family, and within my own family for my children too, and it's not limited to children. I've seen it right across all age spans, that Juniper Berry helps with night scary dreams, basically. For some reason, unbeknownst to me, it really helps. And my kids, when they have the Juniper Berry on, they just say, no, I've had great dreams last night, and vice versa. So definitely one to recommend. I recommend putting in your blend. I've seen it work with people who are on adults who scary dreams or nightmares or night terrors are an indication of where their emotional health is headed, and they've actually been able to pull their sleep back and help with their sleep, and that's actually stopped them go down a spiral, which is incredible to see and really really powerful to witness personally as well. So we're going to move on to topical use. So I just want to show you that in the same format, this is balance. So balance, again, can go, any of these can go in the diffuser or on your body. But there was an experiment. I was hoping to show you the video of this, but I couldn't get it to play while I'm on Zoom as well. But it shows how putting topically the oils on, so that means putting it on our skin, putting a drop of balance on the soles of the feet. So that's the fastest way to absorb it into the body, is actually through the soles of the feet. So this picture on the right is actually from a person, a blood test from a blood specimen from a person who you can see all the cells there. The blood cells are really plugged together, and they put 1 drop of balance on the soles of their feet, and they retested the blood 30 seconds later. And this on the right is how you can see the blood was then, the blood cells were presenting. So you can see the glow around them. That means they're able to carry nutrients around the body. They're vibrant, they're living, they're healthy, they're not sort of all stuck together, so they're able to travel around the body and deliver all the nutrients and everything they're supposed to do. So you can see that the oils have a biochemical reaction in our body, and they happen so incredibly fast, and you can feel it. So personally, for me, I've got a number of experiences with balance, and I know a number of families who balance is like their be all and end all, really, for both kids and adults alike. For me personally, at convention the year before last, I was feeling very nervous. We had sort of 3 days of convention and then a training day on the end, which I was speaking at, and it was my first time ever speaking in front of 1,000 people. And all of a sudden, this is like the day before, someone else was up on stage talking, and I suddenly I just couldn't hear. I'm like in this room with 5,000 people, and I couldn't hear anything. It felt like I had these muffled headphones on, and I just felt like I couldn't breathe. And I turned to Anthony, I was like, I can't breathe. And I didn't know what was happening. And I thought, if this is me feeling nervous about tomorrow, I've got like 24 hours to go, and I'm not going to be able to live like this for 24 hours. And I just can't breathe, and I can't hear anything. I just can't hear. And he just rubbed the back of my neck, and I didn't really think anything much more of it, because I hadn't really noticed what he was doing or anything. But within a few seconds, it's like I walked back in the room, and I could suddenly hear, and I just felt really calm, and my heart went back down, and I just thought, wow, okay. And I said, did you just put something on the back of my neck? And he was like, yeah, I just put a drop of balance. So for me, I'm like, wow, okay, I know that really helps me in those moments. And I've had other moments like that with balance, which I'll talk about in a moment. But we've seen kids who are struggling separating from their parents in the mornings, that, when there's new routines and that sort of thing, really benefit from this. Just really transform. Like, it really is amazing to watch, and I know because I've experienced it myself. I've used it on my children. We'll often combine balance and wild orange to help them when they're needing support emotionally as well. So the back of the neck and the soles of the feet are really good. So when we use the oils, he didn't in that case, but normally we would always dilute the oils with a fractionated coconut oil or some other carrier oil. So it's really important, if you're using the oils on your skin, they are incredibly potent. So if we are using them, some of them are more gentle than others, so you'll get to know them. But we always want to make sure that we are diluting them in a carrier oil, some sort of very thin carrier oil. So jojoba is a good one, sweet almond oil is a good one. What other ones are good? Can't think off the top of my head. But we use fractionated coconut oil. So that is actually a coconut oil that's been split. So it has all the heavy parts of the lauric acid removed. So it never goes hard, like even in winter. It's always liquid, and it's really thin. It's like the thin, fine part. So it actually absorbs really well into the body. It's non-greasy. So I'm putting it on my kids' feet pretty much every night, whether it's sleep oils or immunity oils or whatever we're doing. And I'm not, it's not making the bed sheets all oily or anything like that. And I use it on my face as my face serum. With frankincense, it doesn't make my face oily. So I really like it. I love that it has no smell. But any carrier oil that you feel comfortable with, basically the lighter and finer, the better. You could use like an olive oil, but you can imagine how greasy that would feel on your skin. And the more greasy it is, basically the less it's being actually absorbed down into your body and into your cells and into your bloodstream and where we want it to go. So just find yourself a nice light oil. I do use the doTERRA fractionated coconut oil, because I have found that some companies, the way they actually, like cheaper oils, the way they split the oil, the coconut, is with a chemical, and then which forces it to separate, and then you're actually left with a chemical residue in the oil, which is kind of like everything we're trying to avoid. So I trust doTERRA, and I know they do it through a different process which has no residue of anything. It's done through like pressure or steam or something, so it's completely clean. So what we do is we advise 2 milliliters of a carrier oil to every 1 drop of essential oil. So what that means basically is a squirt of carrier oil in your hand and a drop of essential oil if you're putting it straight on. But you can make up you know, rollers. So you get yourself like rollers. I don't know if you can see this very tiny on the side of your screen, but a roller bottle, that's a 10 ml roller bottle. And you put just 5 drops of essential oil in that roller, which is hardly any, it's right at the bottom, and then you fill the rest up with the carrier oil. So the vast majority of what you're putting on your body is actually carrier oil, which is why I say get a really good quality one. And so yeah, you can have rollers, but rollers are nice, but I actually find when we're putting it on the soles of the feet, my kids find that quite tickly, so that's why we use a spray bottle. This is a 100 ml one just because we use a lot of this, but you can get like 30 ml ones or even 15 ml ones. Like I've got one here, a 15 ml one, which, you know, if you don't need so much, that's fine. But yeah, because we use a lot of ones like this, we'll just make up a big batch. So because this is a 100 ml bottle and it's 2 mils to 1 drop, we'll actually put 50 drops of essential oil in total of this. So we'll put about, you know, 12 or 13 drops of each of the 4 oils that we put in there. And that will last us absolutely ages. So I personally find putting the oils on topically on my body, I get a much bigger impact from the oil than I do from diffusing. But what I've found is that actually if I can get that, but with that, it sort of drops off quicker. So what I'll do is I'll actually, like with the kids and with myself, like if I can put the oil on the feet to boost the getting to sleep parts, and then have the diffuser going and continually going all night long, it sort of reinforces that. So it helps the getting to sleep and it helps the staying to sleep if I actually combine both of these things. So putting them on topically, again, you can choose whatever combination you want. This is a combination that works really well for us. So again, we've got that balance. And then we've got the Lavender Piece. So this is called Serenity in the UK and the US. But Lavender Piece is basically a blend that doTERRA have put together that has all the calming oils in there together. So it actually has lavender, marjoram, it has vetiver and cedarwood, it has Roman chamomile, it has Hawaiian sandalwood, it has vanilla in it as well. So the vanilla is really sweet, and so it actually smells a bit like a lolly shop, and the kids will always choose this one. Which is great. I'm like, yeah, sure, have as much as you want as this, like go for it. So they'll love this in their diffuser, or we use this part of our sleepy sheets spray as well. But I've found that this combination particularly, again, I've got another powerful story where I was just really worked up in my mind about something and knew I had to be up early in the morning, and I was up really late and stressing about the fact that I wasn't going to have enough sleep, and that was keeping me awake even more. And I was really upset by something that somebody had done that was really silly, and Anthony just came in and just rubbed my back, and I was like, oh, is that like, and it was actually balance Lavender Piece and lavender. I mean, lavender's in it, so you wouldn't need that extra lavender. And I thought, well, that's not going to work. I'm way too worked up just for oils to work. And before I knew it, I was asleep, and I woke up. I only had about 4 or 5 hours sleep, but I felt amazing when I woke up. I couldn't believe it. And so that's what I find balance does, is it sort of, it eliminates my inner chatter. So, you know, I often just have this chatter going on, and it just sort of calms that. And then the Lavender Piece and all those calming, physically calming oils help me to feel physically asleep, physically want to go to sleep. So the combination for me helps me mentally and physically switch off. But in the daytime, if I don't want to feel sleepy, I would skip the Lavender Piece and I just use the balance. And it just brings that clarity, but I don't actually feel that tight. You know, I don't feel like lethargic or anything like that. So this is a power combo for me. Again, everyone's different, and everyone's going to have their own success stories with various things. But this is one that, yeah, I use certainly. And then we've got this is our secret weapon, this next slide. So Sleepy Toe. If you follow our page, you may have seen we've done a few videos on this, but Sleepy Toe is what is the hammer over the head of our kids. It just knocks them out, which is just brilliant, and knocks me out as well. So what we do is just, obviously we would recommend to dilute this and get a little bit of vetiver. I rub it on my thumbs, and then I wipe that on the big toes of my kids. And even if they've had like a late afternoon nap and I think, oh God, they're going to be up for like hours, or if they're really hyper or they're really just going crazy, if I can get that Sleepy Toe on, they just zonk. It is unbelievable. And I've experienced it as well myself. I'll put it on my toe and I just wake up in the same position that I fell asleep in. It's just, it just completely zonks me. So again, this is the way it's grown is really insightful into how it helps us feel. So vetiver is actually a long grass that's grown in Haiti, And the oil comes from the spindly roots. So the spindly roots, that they're sort of like tiny little, spindly spaghetti that go down deep into the earth. So the roots actually go down into the earth as much as the roots, the grass grows high. So we're getting that deep grounding. And when you smell it, it's actually, I'll give an example of it actually, if you can see the side of the screen. Really smells so earthy. If you've smelt it, you'll know what I mean. And you'll see as well, like the citrus, are vibrant and bright, and they'll jump out of the bottle and fall out the bottle. But I don't know if you can see this, but the vetiver, you can see it's vetiver. It just takes absolutely ages to get itself out of the bottle. May be too long for a demonstration, but it's very, very thick and syrupy, and it even holds, it's like a dome shape when it lands on your palm because it's so thick and syrupy. So it really helps us to feel that's going to, the lethargy of it coming out, and the way it moves really helps you see how it's going to impact that. And what I love about this, and what I love about doTERRA, is that they are able to source it from Haiti, which is one of the world's poorest communities, and they're able to support these farmers that are growing the vetiver. They're paid more than they've ever been paid previously. They're able to help them with things that they didn't even have before, like fresh, clean drinking water. So when they actually went out to meet these farmers, they found that the women and the children were walking 3 hours a day, and they're like, where are they going to and disappearing to for the day? Where is it they're going? And they were collecting water that wasn't even safe to drink or to even cook with. So doTERRA like, right, well, that's a problem we can solve. Let's help you with that. So they do so much work across the globe and to help these communities, but they also are doing so much work for us. So when you look at vetiver, when doTERRA found that the best ever vetiver was coming out of Haiti, they searched the globe. That's what doTERRA do. They find where the best, the best tea tree and eucalyptus come out of Australia, because that's where it grows so abundantly. That's where the climate and the soil and the, everything about the temperament here is best for tea tree and eucalyptus. But when they found that the best vetiver was coming out of Haiti, what they did was they go and see them directly and say, okay, we want the best vetiver. doTERRA always going to have the most potent, not just pure, but we want the most potent oil. And they said, well, we grow vetiver grass for 6 months, and then we harvest the grass, and that's how we get the oil, because that's the soonest we can get the oil out of it. But we actually know, like, their generational wisdom and knowledge and expertise actually showed that if they grew the vetiver for 18 months, you had a much thicker and heavier and denser and way more therapeutically valuable oil, which is what we've got. So the 6-month oil is still 100% pure, but the 18-month oil is much more potent, and they're both 100% pure, but we've just got one that's much more potent. So doTERRA are doing everything they can for us to have the best possible product, but they're also working with these communities to make sure that they have got, opportunity. They pay them extra. They actually pay them sort of like how we get paid super. They'll pay them additional funds that get put aside that the people don't actually get. And then after a certain length of time, say whatever the contract is, like 5 or 10 years, they say, right, here's the lump sum that's been put aside for you. That's the exact sum of money that it costs to actually buy the land back for us, because we want you to have this land. We want you to have it for generations to come. You're the people of the land. You're the people who are have the knowledge of the land. This is for you. So they don't just go in and buy up the land and then just keep people living in poverty. They actually really want to empower those people. So I love vetiver for many reasons. I love all the work that doTERRA are doing with communities like that, but I also really love the fact that my kids go to sleep with it. It's just miraculous. So just a couple of testimonials on sleepy toe or on vetiver. We've got vetiver had non-sleeper until the age of 2. Within a week of introducing a drop of vetiver on his big toe, he was sleeping through the night. Sleepy toe saved me. Then okay, so literally stunning, as in stunned by vetiver, as in fish hit on the head, stunned, asleep. Pretty stunning for an insomniac. That's the oil that helped doTERRA worm its way into my heart. Total game changer. And then a couple of other ones there as well. So hopefully you get an idea of how phenomenal oil it is. So moving on to internal use of the oils. This is not something generally we turn to for sleep. For sleep, but doTERRA have provided this restful complex, which is basically the Serenity or the Lavender Piece, but in a format that we can take internally in soft gels. So I know a lot of people that have a lot of success with this. and love using them. Another way to help yourself internally is the Lifelong Vitality Pack. So this is actually the #1 best-selling product in doTERRA and works on every area of our health, including our cells. And if our cells are healthy and working and functioning, then everything is working and functioning better. Unfortunately, don't have time to talk about that tonight, but for those who are in Brisbane and who are watching this live, we are really lucky to have one of our silver leaders visiting from the UK, who is, she's a biologist, she's a scientist, she's got an incredible mind, and she'll be presenting on the Lifelong Vitality Pack for, full presentation on this on Sunday. So every month in Brisbane, the first Sunday of every month, we run a series, from 12 till 4, we have presentations going on about how to use your oils. This Sunday, so Sunday the 3rd of March, we're in Arana Hills, and it is all about the gut cleanse. So this is a foundation of the gut cleanse, but it's also a foundation of every single part. So if you're interested in learning about that, I've actually just heard what the presentation is today, been through it with Bryony, who's be presenting, and is phenomenal. So please get yourself there, or you can research lots online about the Lifelong Vitality Pack. There's so much information about there, and they have literally changed my life. And one of the things that I'd like to say in terms of that whole not wanting to go to sleep when it's late at night. When I first started taking the Lifelong Vitality Pack, that was one of the things that I really noticed quite quickly, was that I got tired in the evenings, and I would start to want to fall asleep while I was on the sofa, and I'm like, oh, I don't usually get that. So that was one thing I really did notice in terms of that change, but it's going to help every part of your body, which is obviously then going to help with the sleep. So if you want to get tickets to that event, BALANCE stands for Brisbane Aroma Learning and Nurturing Community Events. So these are events for anyone who's in doTERRA, who has a doTERRA account, who's a doTERRA customer, to be able to come along. It's like $10 for the full day, and there's places you can fill up with all your little bottles, all the roller bottles and spray bottles and diffusers and everything that you need. There's jewelry and all sorts. So it's a perfect day. And everything that is raised goes to Healing Hands as well. So we'll talk about that in a moment. So I do just want to do a note on quality. I won't talk too much about it. If you've seen any doTERRA presentations before, you'll know that doTERRA are way above and beyond any other essential oils that are out there. You can see over on the left that the grades of essential oil that are available, the vast majority are actually just synthetic, or they're filled with, they may have a trace of actual essential oil in the bottle, and the rest is all just fillers. And it's a really sad, sorry state, because there's no industry regulation and there's no essential oil police essentially that go around and check what's in the bottles. So for us to not only have food grade, not only have therapeutic grade, but for doTERRA to implement a standard of their potency. So again, 100% purity for them is very baseline. Having 100% pure oil is very rare. But on top of that, doTERRA, like 100% pure is nothing. We actually want the most potent. So we want that 18-month vetiver. We want a certain, with the cedarwood, the inner tube, the inner core of the trunk of cedarwood is actually the most highly therapeutic part. So that is the only part that doTERRA source from. They don't source from the outside, the other rings of the cedarwood tree. So although it's 100% pure, it's not the most potent, which is the part that doTERRA go to. So please, again, do look into that as well. They have incredible testing methods. They go above and beyond. Everything is tested by themselves. It's tested at the distillery, and it's tested by third-party independent testers. So you know exactly what's in the bottle. You can actually look on the bottom of each bottle, and there's a batch number, and you can look on source2u.com, source2u.com, and actually look at the exact results of your batch of oil. So every single oil goes through that. So that's fascinating thing to look through. So if you've got an oil, you can go and check that now. So also a note on ethics. Like I said before, doTERRA just go above and beyond to care for the people of the land. It's a major reason why I wanted to get involved with them. They work with established organisations like Days for Girls and help these communities get proper sanitation and hygiene. They work with Operation Underground Railroad, which is about childhood sex trafficking. So that relies on the donations of us customers. So they encourage us to donate $1 with every order, which I'm very happy to do. But that entire dollar goes towards the projects. So unlike a lot of other charities where you donate $1 or whatever it is, and about 70% of that will actually go towards operation costs and overheads and admin and that sort of thing. But doTERRA cover all of those expenses, so that every donation, every cent of every donation goes directly to all these projects. So it's, you know, one that I'm really happy to donate to. Pardon me. You can also, I'll just have, pardon me. You can also buy the Hope oil or the Rose hand lotion, and they're both $26, and all $26 goes towards the Healing Hands Foundation, which is a beautiful thing as well. So for those of you who don't have oils yet, for those of you who do, you know what to do. Log into your account, just mydoterra.com. But those of you who don't, reach out to the person who introduced you. So if somebody's been sampling or talking to you about doTERRA, go back and speak to them and they will help you. My recommendation, if sleep is your priority, your number one priority, then I would recommend getting the fractionated coconut oil with a diffuser, and then just adding your oils. So that $109.50 is the cost of the oil and the diffuser, and also includes membership to doTERRA. So membership to doTERRA actually gives you 25% off everything in doTERRA for a year. So the way doTERRA works is you get your own account. It's a bit like setting up an Amazon account, but you set up a doTERRA account, and that just means you can log in anytime and order what you want when you want, and it gets shipped straight to you. But with doTERRA, you actually get a 25% discount on everything. So that would be my recommendation if sleep is your priority. If it's not your priority, then personally, I would actually start another way, which if you start with a specific kit that doTERRA has put together, you don't, it will actually cost you less. So that's a good way to do it. But obviously the oils in those kits cover a vast range of things, from like cooking, cleaning, skincare, gut support, you know, all the ailment needs in the house. And that's great. That's a great way to start. And I have got things in there for sleep. So I would just recommend you reach out to the person who introduced you, and they're going to be able to find the right thing that's for you. Depending on when you're watching this video, doTERRA generally have promotions on. Some are really phenomenal, some are okay. This month, which ends sort of in about 12 hours, is a particularly phenomenal month. So for example, if you were to start and get the fractionated coconut oil and diffuser and the balance and vetiver by tomorrow morning, and then you were to next month order cedarwood, easy air, lavender and lavender piece, then doTERRA will actually give you about $120 worth of free products. So that's the sort of promotion that's on at the moment. In terms of ordering each month, that's not something that you have to do when you have an account. You do not have to order every month. You can just order as and when you want. But there is an option to set up a monthly order, and obviously it comes with a lot of benefits, like lots of freebies. doTERRA send you a free oil every month if you're ordering over a certain amount and that sort of thing. But whoever's introducing you will guide you through that to see if that's right for you. It's not necessarily right for everyone, but it's right for most people. So also, before you do join, I would recommend emailing the person or getting in contact with the person who introduced you. If that's me, if you saw this class online and you've just jumped on, then just please shoot me an email, healthymunchkins@gmail.com, and just put in the subject welcome pack info, please. So just welcome, and I will let you know what's in my welcome pack, because that may mean that you don't need to order something that's in there as well. So you can obviously reach out to the person who introduced you and see what they may be able to support you with as well. So if you would like to jump on and join doTERRA, it's a beautiful thing, beautiful community. And then just go to my doTERRA. So if you do know what you want, I would recommend reaching out to the person, see if they can help you. I like to help people get the best things for their money. But if you know what you want, just jump on mydoterra.com/healthymunchkins, or reach out and find out what your friend's name is. Click join and save, because that's what's going to give you that 25% discount when you set up your account. Choose local, choose wholesale prices, just enter your details, choose the $35 membership, and then put your fractionated coconut oil and your diffuser in. It's called the petal diffuser, and then obviously add whatever you want to that. So having an account, I used to think it was something really scary, but it's really not. So it really does just give you that 25% discount on everything for 12 months. You can choose to renew your account after 12 months. You don't have to, but if you'd like to, it's then only $25 to renew it, and they send you a $26 bottle of oil. So it's essentially free to renew if you want to keep that going, but you certainly not locked into anything ever. So we offer in our team, we offer free online training every single month. We run like an online boot camp that you can do on your phone, on your sofa. We have our members only Facebook support group where you can jump in, ask questions anytime, obviously share your recipes, read testimonials. We have lots of offers going on in there as well. We offer a free wellness consultation and one-to-one support to everyone who joins. Again, there's no ongoing commitment or lock-ins. You never have to buy anything again if you don't want to. There is the option to do a monthly order, which is what most people choose to do when they learn how generous it is. About 70% of our team actually do the monthly order because it is so incredibly generous, and you get free shipping and you get free orders every month and all that sort of thing. But it's, again, not something you have to take part in. And we have members only specials. So just today we've handed out over $300 worth of free doTERRA products just to our members. So lots going on in our members group as well. So just a summary, in terms of helping your sleep cycle, we want to make sure that you establish a really good nighttime routine. So just take 10 minutes at the end of this webinar to think, what nice things could you do for yourself before you go to bed each night? Just what suits you, what really, is something that you feel like you want to do. Schedule in your sleep and relaxation time. If you know you need 7 hours, you need 8 hours, then make sure that your life is planned around that, because it is literally your function of your body that's necessary. Turn off your phone or keep your phones out of your room, your bedroom. Consider looking at a Shakti mat. We absolutely love it. If you don't have if you have essential oils, then just log into your doTERRA account. So go to mydoterra.com, put in your ID and password, and you're logged in and go shopping for your life. If you're new and you don't have an account yet, then go back to the person who introduced you. If that's me, then I would love to have you on our team. Shoot me that message. So just welcome pack info, please. And I will send you some information, and I'll send you all the specials that are on at the moment as well. But if you know what you'd like already, then jump onto mydoterra.com/healthymunchkins, and you can go for that yourself and do that online if you'd like. So shoot me a message, either healthymunchkins@gmail.com or hello@healthymunchkins.com.au, and I would love to be able to support you. So I'm going to stop the recording now, and then we'll have some questions afterwards. So let me do that. Bye to everybody who's watching the recording.